Chapter 3 Unit 11 Digital Missing in Action. The first codecrackers who dove into the digital world were adventurers of a sort, carrying out expeditions that put their lives on the line. Many of them felt like the self-proclaimed explorers of the 15th century, striking out into unknown territory on their ships to map continents yet unknown to them and chart new shipping routes in the process. Similarly, the codecrackers were desperate to learn more about the firewall and eventually reveal the secrets of the depths they suspected lay within. It was a heady time, and Tartarus, a skilled codecracker, couldn't resist the call. It didn't take him long to assemble a select crew of explorers that would eventually form the core of the much-maligned Sons of Chaos. Beyond the digital world's impenetrable firewall lie the depths, accessible only through the gateways that regulate the traffic into and out of the depths. One such gateway sits at the center of the wall slum, and Tartarus led his small band of future SOC members right into it. All that remained was to use their mind-link partner Digimon to code-crack the gateway itself. The operation had been a success to this point, but luck doesn't last forever. The system administrator discovered them, bringing the group face to face with a horde of gatekeeper Digimon. Eradication attack! Megadramon reared back and launched a hail of organic missiles into the air, all direct hits. A massive hole opened in the swarm, only to be filled moments later by fresh reinforcements. There were too many of them. Their movements made it look as though sprites were flickering on a massive screen as the GPU struggled to keep up with the number of draw calls being made. It was an impressive optical illusion, albeit one that signaled immediate danger. "I can't hold them off for very long," Megadramon, piloted by Marvin the Songsmith, informed Tartarus in chat. They had already been mind-linked for quite some time, and there was no way Marvin could hold off the massive army of enemies before him. The Gatekeeper Digimon, as they've colloquially known, descend like a swarm of locusts upon any who dare to attempt to get through the firewall. What they lack in raw stats or power, they make up for by attacking in hordes of hundreds or thousands at a time. The SOC unit, on the other hand, consisted of a handful of ultimate level Digimon. Everyone in the elite crew was an S-tier codecracker, but they couldn't hope to defeat an army of thousands, assuming the enemy forces were even finite in the first place. "Time to get to work, Dorumon! We're moving to Phase 3! Tartarus said from the Dorumon's Digicore as he sent some commands through his software tool. "Get it!" the rookie Digimon replied, initiating its Digivolution first to Champion, then to Ultimate. Doru Greymon, Ultimate, Beast Dragon, Data. Its silvery wings stirred the air, revealing a creature that was now half beast, half dragon. Its quadruped body recalls that of the massive herbivorous dinosaurs, with an elongated neck and tail. That body, however, is covered in fur rather than scales. "Metal Meteor!" A shadow began to form over Dorugremon's head. A massive metal sphere formed in the air, stealing the attention of the swarm of gatekeepers as well as the other SOC members themselves. "Shoot, Tartarus isn't playing around," Marvin yelped, signaling for the others to retreat. They gradually began to fall back, continually firing anti-air attacks to keep the gatekeepers at bay, while Tartarus readied his counter. The interface on Dorugremon's head began to glow. Characters made of pure light began to appear on the surface of the massive metal sphere. Code. "Commencing code crack. Contact with the gateway in 10, 9, 8... Dogramon intoned as the metal meteor began its descent. The army of gatekeepers, rather than flee, raced directly underneath the metal meteor. They piled in next to one another, all pressing against the projectile, trying with their combined might to lift it back up and away from the gateway. They're trying to stop it, Tartarus. Let them try. Keep going. The metal meteor continued its swift descent and made contact with the gateway, crushing the gatekeepers in its path. The high-pitched screaming of metal grating against metal rang out as the metal meteor smashed into its target, slowing as the metal barrier continued to scream and strain, but hold. As massive as the metal meteor appeared to the Digimon and their partner humans, slamming it into the caldera-like gateway was akin to tossing a pebble into a lake. The ripples from that pebble, however, could have far-reaching effects. Begin decoding. This can still work, Tartarus said quietly. A meter began to fill on Tartarus' virtual monitor. 20%, 25%. Spidery lines of light began to stretch across the gateway, radiating out like cracks in glass. The gateway was breaking. A massive, metallic thud reverberated through the air, followed by low groans as the gateway continued to strain. The remaining gatekeepers swarmed Dogramon in a last-ditch effort to stop the Digimon attacking the gateway. You think you can stop us? Maximum firepower, everybody! We just need to buy him another minute, Marvin shouted. The entirety of the SOC group launched everything they had at the gatekeepers. A previously loud and conspicuous humming that had simply faded into the background ceased, and the sudden silence was jarring. Dorugramon's metal meteor had completely ground to a halt. The code that lit up its surface began to fade, and the decoding progress bar stopped just beyond 30%. What's happening, Dorogramon? Tartarus barked. Process terminated. This is as far as we'll get with the power of a single prototype Digimon, Dorogramon said coolly. Just as we hypothesized, Tartarus said with a heavy sigh. This gate requires a tripartite key. We'll need all three attributes in order to crack it. We are in need of 2 more prototype Digimon, a virus type and a vaccine type. One of them must be ultimate level, and all must attempt to crack the gate simultaneously, Dorogramon continued. You're a data type. Your Lynx Ryudamon is a vaccine type. We just need 1 more, Tartarus said to himself, looking out at the gateway through Dorogramon's eyes. It remained firmly shut, like someone had placed a lid on a volcano. This gateway, Dorogramon interjected, has been here a long time, as I'm sure you know. It predates the existence of the wall slum. Of course it did. It was only through the advent of humanity connecting to the internet and developing their own network that the real and digital worlds discovered one another, which resulted in the digital world constructing the gateway in response. That, in turn, led to a large data drift near the gateway and scores of Digimon who could not return to the digital world. These exiles banded together and built the wall slum. It might as well be a prehistoric artifact to them, is what you're saying? Precisely. To them, it's a door that requires 3 ancient organic keys. 3 magical good luck charms, if you like, Dorogramon replied. But this gate hides what we seek, doesn't it, Dorogramon? Yes, Dorogramon said, flapping its wings gently in agreement. Beyond the gateway lies the depths, as you call them, and the source code. Tartarus continued, getting to the heart of the matter. What did you call it in the real world? The Holy Grail? Dorogramon asked. The thing which with all manner of miracles are possible, and the thing which no one must ever possess. Then perhaps you should abandon your search. Indeed. The source code beyond the gateway has the power to change the world. We cannot possibly know how it will change the world, but I believe it would be better than the world as presently constructed, Dorogremon said solemnly. And I will be the one to change it. You're a regular revolutionary, aren't you? Tartarus mused. For example, which revolutionary form of your history would you compare me to? Oh, that's not for me to say. Revolutionaries are judged in the eyes of history long after their deaths, Tartarus said, feigning ignorance. I do not wish to die. Nor do I. But there are things worth risking one's life for. Tartarus switched to the private line to Dorogremon so they could continue their conversation undisturbed. We Digimon are born of chaos, and Digivolution is the fate that has been thrust upon us. And humans are right there beside you. Over the last 2,000 years, we've simply become adept at gaming the system, so to speak. Wait, something's coming. Dorogremon, once focused entirely on code cracking the gateway, now felt the eyes of another. The metal meteor at last came to a complete halt, and now began to show cracks of its own. The screeching sound of metal being rent in fits and starts echoed throughout the caldera. The code along its surface began to warp and break apart. Something was destroying the metal meteor from the other side of the gate. From the depths. They're here! Dorogremon shouted, loath as all Walslam Digimon were to actually give name to the creature that was likely fighting back. One of the 13 royal knights, the guardians of Yggdrasil. Marvin, tell everyone to fall back, Tartarus yelled into the voice chat. You heard him! Fall back unless you want to be DMIA! Marvin shouted. One by one, the SOC Digimon began to flee without hesitation. Dorogremon and Tartarus took off after them. The gateway receded into the distance. Each and every one of them knew they didn't stand a chance against one of the Royal Knights. Not even as a team. The Royal Knights, Tartarus said softly to himself, looking back at the gateway as Dorogremon carried them further into the air. He then watched through Dorogremon's eyes as a flash of light split the metal meteor in two, and it disintegrated. What neither the codecracker Tartarus nor his partner Digimon Dorumon knew at the time was that it would be many, many more years before they would attempt to crack the gateway again.